I've been mapping out all the wild edibles that I know of in the community that I'm in over the last couple years and making it into a pocket-sized little map. And this is how I got started. I went on Google Images and got the clearest picture, the clearest map of the community that I'm in, and I emailed it to the Photoshop here in town. The Photoshop has the ability to make larger and clearer images than a print shop. So I would just send it to your Photoshop, have that printed out, and then use their cutting board to divide the map up into as small a pieces as you can, or as you need, so that they fit in your pocket. I measured this one to be the size of my pocket so that I could carry it around over the next months and years and continue to add things to it conveniently by just pulling it out of my pocket. So after you get it printed out and after you cut it up into portable size, the next step is to figure out your numbering system. And this was the hardest part for me, and that's probably why I'm making the video, is so that people can realize how much easier it is to get started mapping out your wild edibles than you may have thought. So I started with trees, and I gave myself like 1 through 20, because I thought that at the time I had only counted mentally about a dozen trees that I knew of, and so I counted ahead of that just to give myself some room for learning new trees. And I gave basically 1 through 20 the tree section, and then gave myself a couple numbers, 2 numbers, grace, to add 2 more trees. And as you can see, I added regular cherry and mountain ash. Mountain ash is more of a bush, and then I started the ground plants. But as you can see, I had to switch out one of the lesser useful ground plants for a pomegranate tree, because I found a couple pomegranate trees in this town later on. So I would suggest giving yourself the number designation for trees a bigger gap, like 1 through 25, or maybe 1 through 50. If you give yourself a tree section 1 through 50, you don't necessarily have to use, if you only come up with 22 trees, you can leave 23 through 50 blank. You don't have to utilize them. Just leave them for years to come when you're learning more and more, and then you can start number 100 through 100 number 50 through 100. You can start like the next section of plants, maybe ground plants, and then I started an aquatic section, a 3rd section, aquatic section. I'd like to start a 4th section this next year for mushrooms and where they're growing. Another section that I haven't even made a section, but I just put dots where there is spring water coming out in this community. That's another example of something else that you can map out. Something else that I did afterwards is I mapped out the nutritional content of each of these plants so that this map would be more helpful in a survival situation. So I started off with all of the nuts that grow in the town and fruits, some of the ground plants, and then I have sheep and dairy goats that I put in people's yards and utilize the milk. And so all of these are 100 gram servings, except for the sheep milk. Sheep milk is accounting for ½ a gallon, and all of these numbers are the percentage that that serving provides of its daily value So English walnuts, a 100 gram serving provides you with 33% of your daily calories, and 5% of your carbs, 100% of your fat, and so on. 100 grams is equivalent to 100 grams of walnuts is equivalent to a very packed single handful. 100 grams of, say, dandelion greens is like 2 of your hands cupped together, and it completely smashed into your hands, like a very dense handful of, or double handful of dandelion greens is about equivalent to 100 grams. So that's how you can tell what that is. As you see, sheep milk being the only thing that isn't 100 grams, half gallon. Half gallon provides a human with 106% of all the calories that they need. Sheep milk is one of the most healthy things on the face of the planet. Pocket size map of all the wild edibles in your town.